You'll want to begin by measuring yourself from your shoulder to below your bust. So you really are just wanting to see where you want the tier to begin. You could skip this step if you don't even want the tier to come higher on your bust. So this is totally optional. But I chose to shorten the bodice length to 12 inches. And I did this for the back as well. So you're going to take your pattern piece and fold it or cut it to this length to then follow all of the instructions for cutting out your bodice pieces, your facings, your sleeves, and then you're also going to cut the bottom tier of the Betty dress, and that is going to become the ruffle or peplum style of the blouse. After you cut out all of your pieces, you are going to assemble the Betty dress exactly how the instructions call for. So that is matching up the notches on the shoulder, and then you're going to sew the facings and attach that to the bodice pieces, and then attach the sleeves. And then you're going to take the bottom tier and gather it, and I'm going to show you a new gathering tip that I learned that I wish I would have known a long time ago. You're going to take your stitch length and move it as high as it will go. It's 5 on my machine, and this is kind of what I usually do for gathering material already. But the next step is to take the tension and move it to as high as it can go. You're going to now just put your fabric under the presser foot and the needle and sew along, and it's going to automatically gather your fabric. You want to make sure you start off with a long bobbin tail like you usually would with gathering, and as you sew, the fabric is going to automatically create this perfect gather. I have learned with this, you want to be very gentle when you go to continue to gather the pieces together later on, because you're only gathering with one thread, so it can be a little bit more fragile. This is a wonderful trick to use for gathering, and it makes things a lot more simple and streamlined. Don't forget to change your tension and stitch length back to its original place before you start sewing again. So next you're just going to attach the bottom tier to the bodice pieces, and that's matching up the notches and side seams. And for me, I was already a little bit further along in my top here, so I'm sewing it in a few different steps, but you can follow the original Betty pattern that comes with the pattern, and you can also see our videos on this linked here. Next steps are to hem the bottom tier, and your blouse is done. This is a wonderful, simple tutorial. I love how it came together. I've also made this with a white cotton gauze that I wear very often, and if you wanted to, you could change this up, and instead of adding a ruffle or a peplum, you could just lengthen the bodice and hem it at the bottom, and that would create a top as well. You could see I'm wearing that at the beginning of the video. This is a great alternative if you don't have enough fabric or you just want to change it up and make a new garment from the pattern that you already have. This tutorial could work for any of our Betty patterns, but you could also do this with the square neck, the original, or the halter as well. If you want some more Betty dress pattern hacks, you can click this next video and see 7 ways to hack the Betty pattern.